Jully, how are you?
How am I? Well, Clark, really, how am I today is optimistic. I am very, I'm full of joy. My joy bank is full. My joy bank is full because I've entered into a space of full surrender. Like it's almost a year later since COVID, kind of started, or that we know of anyway. And so it's nice to be at peace. I have peace, and it feels good to have peace. I had surgery just over a week ago, so there's a little bit of discomfort in my body, but it's to make sure that I'm even better on the other side of it. So, yeah.
Great. So, thank you again for agreeing to do this interview. I really, really appreciate it. And I know all our listeners will appreciate it and also are so excited, to hear you again. It's it's a year where people are just craving music so much. And let's just go back to what you just said. So,
hmm
how did you arrive to this point of joy and feeling at peace?
Yeah. How did I arrive? Well,
Because I know we're all struggling a bit with that, you know? At least I am.
yeah, it's interesting. Being able to utilize the other sides of my voice. And so many know me as a singer, but to be able to do more speaking, do more motivating, speaking to the youth, really being standing in the gap as far as activism and systemic racism and anti-black racism, and not to mention like being able um, to trust my life has never let me down. I think if we all look back, take a moment to really look back, and really kind of scan our lives, we'll realize that be it, grief, be it you might have lost a job, you might have lost a relationship. I'm talking about in the past, you'll realize, hey, I actually got through that. I've gotten through, and the operative word is through. I often say things aren't happening to me, it's happening through me. And that's what's really helping me on a day to day. I'm not going to say there aren't days where I'm just like, okay, Lord, what's really going on? But I don't stay there. I let it, I honor the emotion. It's really important for our mental health to be able to really bear witness to our thoughts, honor our thoughts. Because if you follow the thought, you'll find the emotion. And that's what's helping me on a day to day. I've kind of like Hansel and Gretel it with my thoughts, and it lets me understand like, okay, yeah, and this, because I was kind of memorizing that memory, I started to feel sad, or memorizing that memory is bringing me so much more joy because Aeolian, so many, the amount of times that I've been there, and even with the changing of a couple band members, so it was new for a few other members, which was cool, really cool. Just coming out there, and I really love. I'm excited to. I'm optimistic. I'm very very optimistic, and really, when we are open again, when I'm back in that Aeolian Hall, it's going to feel like my wedding. It's going to feel like Christmas, because we have a different sense of gratitude now. We will not. I know I will not. I'll speak in first person. I will never, if I did, ever take a second for granted. Why? Because one day, and I experienced this with my mom being at her bedside, before her last breath, was that one day we're going to have 1 second left. Just a second. And that gives me a whole other outlook on life, as to what I choose to do, who I choose to speak to, where I choose to really put my time. So I'm a talker, Clark. I'll keep
Oh, this is
going.
amazing. This is where I wanted to sort of end up with today, but let's back up a little bit because I'm so curious, being a musician myself, how you got down the pathway. How did you get started in this passion?
My passion for music.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, let's go back to be. So I'm 43 now. I'm a proud. It's sweet, sweet 43. When I was 6 years old in a Pentecostal church, my family would kind of lug me to church, kind of like an accessory. I was kind of like a purse, and they would go. And I was so young and didn't really understand what was happening in the spiritually, but church was something that my family has always been devout Christians, and so one day my sister kind of lugged me to the youth choir practice, and we don't realize how much like kids can really absorb really really quickly. It's like every language lives in a child, you know. And so there was a song, "Oh It Is Jesus," and they were learning it, and I went every week with them. And finally one day I asked my sister, it was Brother Alonzo. I said, "Could you ask Brother?" I remember it like it was yesterday. "Could you ask Brother Alonzo if I could sing 'Oh It Is Jesus'?" And then my sister kind of looked at me like, "Oh, sure, okay." And she's like, "Julie wants to sing 'Oh It Is Jesus,'" and they thought it would be cute to have this little girl sing with the youth choir. And the voice that I remember coming out of me, I remember the feeling. "Oh, it is Jesus. Yes, it is Jesus.
Mm.
It is Jesus in my soul. For I have touched the hem of his garment, and his blood has made me whole." And I remember that I sang it, and I felt it, and I, like, as I opened my eyes, I saw big people just worshiping and crying and just rejoicing and feeling good. And that's the memory I have of music,
Mm.
that I was able to make people feel good. And here we are.
Wow. Well, that was beautiful, by the way.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
haven't heard you sing that style before, so
Working on,
I'll
I
have to
think I'm
dig.
going to do a gospel album. I think that's all.
That would be so amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah. So you're down the pathway. I'm down the pathway. I'm 58 now. So
No.
yes, yes, and I don't know how it happened. I think I bought Aeolian Hall when I was 41. So it's just like, um, so you've been working away and building your career, and it's been amazing. I've been watching that over the years,
Thank you.
and so. Tell me a little bit about the projects that you've been working on the last little while, or the ones you'd like to work on in the future.
Sure. Well, it's interesting you said the word career. I've been, working on my career over the years. When I finally was able to release "This Is Me," my first album in 2005, and that was it. It was like, you know what, this is me. I'm putting everything into it. If this is my only album ever, this is it. Especially being one of the first, black female artists to have an opportunity in Canada to, nationally, and to be, in the mainstream type thing. So I kind of put my everything in that album, as if there wasn't going to be another one. And then here came Revival, which was even bigger. And so, and then the Black Book. And then I got to a point during the Black Book, my third album, where it wasn't feeling fun anymore. The industry was really starting to take a toll. The whole chasing chart numbers, and the touring, and it just didn't feel, it wasn't "Oh It Is Jesus." Let's put it that way. I didn't have that same feeling, and I had it for so many years. And so I realized that the dream came true, being a part of the industry for sure, but that was my career, but wasn't my calling.
Mhm.
And so I often say a career is what you're paid for, and a calling is what you're made for. And I really had to start focusing on what I was made for. And though I was blessed with such a beautiful voice, it didn't mean that was the only way to use my voice. And I do my best to mentor young artists as well, to say, hey, you have this gift, but how else could you use your gift? What's the content that you're actually, when you're writing about, if you're a songwriter, could you use that voice to amplify someone else's message, someone else's, tribulation? And so that kind of led me to, asking my label to let me go, because they, at that time, they weren't really doing much. We kind of remember the era, the EDM kind of went really EDM in like 2009 through like 2012, and I really hit a wall. And but I always loved performing, and so thankfully I kept performing. That was a thing, and I have to thank you so much, because at the time I think one of the first bookings I went to Aeolian might have been 2014 actually. Was my first time coming there? Was it 2014 my first time coming there?
Oh my goodness, I should have
15?
looked that up. It's probably about right. Yeah.
Yeah, 14, 15. I do it off the hairdo. I remember I had like straight kind of like a curly look and some high boots. But anyway, you seeing me when I felt invisible was a big deal. And what little people know is in that time I was really going through struggles with my record company. You know, people like you like actually booking me to come perform gave me hope.
Know that at all, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah, big
So
time. Like struggles. Like I got to the point a year in that year, I could cry. In that year I had minus 13 cents in my bank account. I almost didn't have gas to make it to London. True story. And so I thank you. I thank you. I thank you, before God, before everybody. I want you really thank you.
it's a privilege to help anybody like yourself in this industry to flourish. Um, can I just tell that little story we talked about before we started recording?
Of course.
So that first concert you played, which was sold out, and it was incredible. We had no passageway between the backstage and the office, so I had to go outside. And outside of the hall, I ran into this young girl, an Indigenous girl, and she was holding, her hand to her ear. And I said, "Can I help you? And is everything okay?" And it was really cold outside. She says, "I came here to hear Jully. I can't afford a ticket, but I knew if I just listened really hard, maybe I could hear her." And so I said, "Come with me," and we went up the front staircase, and I brought her right into the hall, and we stood at the back and listened, and then after the concert, I brought her up to you, and you were so amazing with her, so gracious, and spent a lot of time with her, and then you signed a poster to her. It was just really moving. But yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank. These are the stories that we don't. These are the stories that we don't get to hear, and to think I almost like I didn't even have gas. Like we kind of we pulled the money to even get there to be able to perform, and to know that that little girl was just wanted to hear me means a lot. Thank you for sharing that story.
Well, sorry, I'm getting really emotional too.
No,
um,
here.
it's all these moments, right, that really make it all so worthwhile. And I just want to get back to, though, like, so yes, the industry, and we talked about that before too. That's why I bought the Aeolian. I wanted to get off the road. I couldn't stand the hotel rooms anymore, and the loneliness of the touring as a solo artist. But um, I've found my way, and I still play, and but I'm with people, right?
Yeah.
So here we are, and we've just come through a terrible year on so many levels for everybody, but for musicians especially, I think. Um, you know, um, what's next? Like, what do you think? You found other ways to use your voice, and you said you're supporting young people, which I really want to talk about, because we have our free after school music program. They have to meet you, Julie.
Oh,
They have.
I can't wait. I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
it. Yeah.
So
Well, you know what? Perspective is good. Perspective is a big, it's a powerful tool. And yes, it's been pretty crazy with obviously with COVID and the amount of deaths, the amount of people, the amount of loneliness. I have about five friends who have loved ones, including parents that had to like die alone. Like it's been just yeah, a nightmare in that regard. However, I will say this is the first time in my life that I noticed the whole world kind of looking in the same direction at the same time. So I say that to say, in light of, say, George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and the things that's been happening, even COVID, right? We're all getting the news. We're still enough. We're still enough. We're anchored enough to receive the information in real time at the same time. And we've been so distracted over the years as a society, chasing. I heard a young artist yesterday said it on a panel. Anything you're chasing, you're already behind. And I says, that's deep. A lot of people are chasing my dreams. What are we chasing? The world has forced us to be still. The world has forced us to really go in. We've broken, my friend and I, we break down the word intimacy to say into me, see. Into me, see. In my insides, my heart, my mind, my soul, my mental health. And so I really, I'm grateful for the last year. I'm grateful for the last year. I think many have been more responsible financially. People are really working, dealing with needs versus wants. Things that hadn't been taken care of before. I know for myself, I make sure my life is in order. My estate is in order. My power of attorney is in order. Like, I'm mentoring young artists, especially as like taxes, your books. This is the time where there's a silent killer out there. Critical care, like things that I'm telling you, I have in order, but I hadn't mentored people about. We shouldn't have to do GoFundMe for funerals. Like, these are things, you know what I mean? Like, these are the things. And sometimes it sounds morbid, but it's not morbid, it's just real life. Let's really make sure that our loved ones are okay if our number's called, because no one's getting out of here alive. No one. Okay? And so I look at this, no one's getting out of here alive, Clark. If you are, let me know.
That would be delusional sometimes.
you know, I appreciate the last year. I really, really do. I think it's leveled the playing field, especially when it comes down to especially in the music business. There's like a class system, who's the most popular, nobody's exempt. We all had to sit our butts down at the same time. No one could travel. No one could, it really created a level of equality so we could actually together work towards true equality. So that's what I can appreciate about this last year.
I hope you're right. We've had some agents ask for more money for their artists during COVID. So, it's just like, we're just barely holding our head above the water as a venue, as you can imagine, with no revenue, except donations and a little bit through our virtual series, but everybody's doing a virtual series, so it's very competitive.
Right.
But yeah, I think to me, it's like a time of moral reckoning.
I love that.
You see the contrast, right out in the opening, out in the open. It's like all the things people were thinking but not saying are being said. And we see this, I hate to use the good against evil, but it's almost like that. It's almost like this, we can choose this pathway or we can choose this pathway. Which one is it going to be?
Yeah. Yeah, it's choose your own adventure. You remember those choose your own adventure books back in the day? I don't know, my show.
Yeah.
And a bit of Groundhog Day at the same time. I love that though. Moral reckoning. You're exactly right. I think that we're also laying in the pages of history. Somebody's going to study this season. And I am very much interested in knowing what people are going to learn off of my decisions, the life that I'm living, actually the decisions that I'm making on a day-to-day basis, moment to moment, because we study history and as if we're never going to become a part of it. And we are it. This is history. This is history that we're making right now. And so imagine, Clark, we'll look back one day and yeah, I'm hopeful. So man, we just it's like a tsunami. We held on to a tree. We found that tree to hold on to. and didn't realize we had that much strength to hold on until the storm passed. And yeah, there's the cleanup after. But my mom used to always say, as long as you have life, you have time. And so this is where it's important to really to choose life. Eat better, get sleep, rest and recovery. Many of us, you know this business, you pivoted and decided to provide artists like me with a brave and safe space to perform and to be storytellers. You know that there's a lot of promotion of sleep when you're dead. You know, just keep going, going, go, 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 pursue, pursue, pursue. And that's why mental health, one of the reasons why mental health is on an all time high, people are burnt out, you know? So, at a minimum, if the majority of people, even if it is, you cry yourself to sleep, I'm thankful we're getting to sleep.
So, can we just talk about that for a second? What do you do to keep yourself? I mean, we talked a little bit about this, but like, do you have any rituals that help you through? Like, I think people are really wanting to hear this right now. I
Actually, actually, I do. So these cards are. Make sure I can move it over to this. Okay, here we go. Love Powered Co. You see that there?
Yeah.
I am affirmations to guide you on your self love journey. It's pink, but it's not. Don't be. People think pink are for women. It's for everybody. So basically, I met these women, Lindy and Anna, at a random workshop that my girlfriend had an extra ticket to. I was like, okay, I'll go. And we ended up just hitting it off. And so these cards, you get 29 cards, and you every day what I do, and especially for the month of January, my best friend and I went on social media and did this every day. So you just pick a card, and for example, I just picked it random. This says brilliance. Brilliance is my power. And this is my declaration for the day. I am brilliant, I am creative, I am inspired. I allow the stream of inspiration and infinite intelligence to flow through me. I am brilliant. And then there's a question. How did you tap into your power of brilliance today? How did you feel? So I think it's important, especially in this season, to have prompts. Something that's going to make you declare your greatness. And there's so many different ones. Grit, prosperity, confidence. Like you just don't know what you're going to pull. But how often do we actually ask ourselves some sort of question in the day? To be able to be like, this one says forgiveness. In this moment, release something that no longer serves you. How does it feel? You know what I mean? So I think there's tools out there that we need to be intentional to, even if it's kind of, granola, that's okay. Give me the granola. Give me the Jesus sandals. Give me it all. Because if it's going to help my mental health, then let's go. That's one thing, for example. I have two organizations, one called 100 Strong and Sexy, and that's a women's health and wellness and lifestyle organization. It's been going on for 3 years, and COVID, it already was in place. And so when people were on lockdown, women in particular of all walks of life, they were looking for a sense of belonging, community. Because what's missing now? We can't get together. We're missing that human touch. So even though we're virtual, to know that you have a space that you're connecting with people intentionally, that's been something that's really been very, very, very beneficial for myself and so many others. And then finally, you see in the background the power of step. I just went back to that retro step aerobics, almost Jane Fonda on the step, but I got certified over COVID. I got certified and I launched this business, and I do routines to reggae and soca and gospel. Like on Sundays, I have something called Step and Praise, and it really appeals to the faith-based community. They're not able to go to church, so they're able to come work out and worship.
Wow.
So yeah, and I have something called Wake and Worship on Monday mornings from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. and just come on, pray, meditate. So the
Wait a
lots
minute.
of
You're a singer. What are you doing up at that hour?
I know I read a book by Robin Sharma. Are you familiar with Robin Sharma?
No.
Google Robin Sharma. He has a book called The 5 a.m. Club. And it sounds like it's just, oh, wake up 5 a.m. in the morning, but it's deeper than that. It's incredible, and he really breaks down that hour, when you do things within that hour, like 20 minutes of meditation, 20 minutes of journaling, 20 minutes of exercise, that the rest of your day is just next level productive. And so I read that book and I just subscribed to the philosophy, and this is why my vibrancy is just like through the roof. One
I'm
of the
that
reasons.
book.
Yeah.
I
You
am.
got to get the book. 5 a.m. Club. 5 a.m. Club. Get it. Robin Sharma.
I will definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all of us, I think, are looking, and this has been amazing. Like for you to talk about these things, it was my hope for, but I had no idea this side of you. It's
Yeah.
people see you on stage, and this is the wonderful thing about having these kinds of discussions is we just learn so much more about the artists, right? And
Thank you.
I'm just really thrilled to speak with you today. So there's just carrying on this thought. We we have musicians right now, and I've spoken to a number, in our series, and they've talked about their colleagues, and some of their colleagues are thinking about getting out of the industry because it's so rough, and sometimes they're not the front person who sings; they're maybe the drum player or the guitar player that isn't. You can't do the videos on live stream and stuff. Do you
Hmm.
have any kind of advice for people in terms of moving forward? I mean, you've already given so much great advice that's really general, but specific to the musicians.
For sure. What I would say, to the musicians in particular, is know that your art has value. And so it's really sitting and realizing that there's 7 billion people in the world, and now we're a neighborhood. We are a neighborhood. You can actually go online. You can teach guitar. You can teach vocals. You can teach. I think it's going to take humility. A lot of us, like I said to you, I went and got a step aerobics certification. Yeah, I'm platinum recorded. I just won a Dora. I won all these awards. Nothing's beneath me. So I think it's humble yourself first and foremost. Be humble, and realize that there are things that bring you joy that you could monetize. And so, and recognize that you're building towards, if you really want to stay, making music, that it's now creating a soundtrack to go with the world, go along with the world that we're living in now. Right? What was is what was. We're not going back anywhere.
Mhm.
It's really, I can't wait to get back to. There's nothing to get back to.
I agree. I totally agree with that. I
Right?
know I have a lot of colleagues who say that, when things reopen and we get back to normal, I'm like, mm-mm.
Now, honey.
Okay.
Now, honey. But
Yeah.
think about it. Like for me, especially as a person of color, I'm like, wow, there was slavery, there was all types of different things that's happened. I'm like, you think I'd be like, yeah, let's get back to no. Like, we're living in a time where forward, especially now, forward is the way. Moving forward, 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 and recognizing that we do have the power, more power than we realize, especially in thought. And I really believe thoughts become things. Thoughts become things. And so, for all the artists out there, all the stage hands, the tech people, you might be in craft services. What's that grilled cheese that you've been making? I bet you could sell that to somebody on your street. Like, this is a time. I have know people that have created meal prep companies from home that used to be in craft services. Like, time to be, I call it Corona creativity. You gotta be Corona creativity on the next level, and just commit. Even if you commit 90 days, it takes 21 days to form a cell, not a habit. 21 days to form a cell, 66 days to form the habit. This is why with my company 100 Strong and Sexy, we do things for 100 days. Because anything you do for the 100 days, it's cognitively, it's cemented, it's you. The problem is people quit too early. And when you reset, then you won't hit that 66 days. Lean on science. I'm of the Christian faith, but I believe in science too. Like, science will let you know, if you do this and this and this, it'll equal that. Problem is, we're not sticking it out. Stick it out. Stick it out. Commit, commit, commit. And recognize, again, in full, just in conclusion, that nothing is beneath you. Be humble and grateful.
You
Take
know, I,
that CERB. Take that CERB. You got CERB? Take that CERB. Whatever they are, government's offering. I have to say this to you, Clark. It's funny. Once upon a time, people would shun government assistance. Now, oh, did you get the wage subsidy? You got the CERB. You got the everybody got whatever the name is. Once upon a time, that it's the same thing as it's with welfare, and that's okay. You need it. Make use of it. Be wise with it. Try to invest a part of it into whatever that thing is, whatever that side hustle is. This is your time. This is your time.
this is the best. Like, so, I've played at the Glenn Gould studio for live broadcasts and played at various venues in Europe, big time stuff. And when I bought the Aeolian, like, I spent all my money. And so
Mm,
I had to, like, after every event, I cleaned up, right? I did all the toilets. I did like all the sweeping up and all the
yeah.
set of the chairs. And then my husband joined me eventually. Like, it was 6 years after that he moved in with me, and so I had some help. But I agree with you. Like, it we all have to work interdependently, and we all have to be humble, right? No matter what kind of acclamations we get, we are humans, and life is up and down, and you just never know when it's going to go up or down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Look
you're
at.
so wise. You
Thank
are.
Thank you. Thank you. And
Yeah.
I appreciate sharing the wisdom. That's what makes the trials and the adversity not being vain. It's in the sharing. You didn't know I had barely had gas money.
No, I didn't know that. Now, I'm going to get in trouble if I don't broach one subject before we
Oh yeah,
finish
sure.
up here.
Yeah.
One of my board members is from Africa, and we're really trying hard at the Aeolian to figure out what we can do to support diversity in a more didactic way, and especially with Black Lives Matter.
Mm.
Um, what's going on in your life in terms of that? Like, um, I like to hear about this because, yeah, I just love to get more tools and more perspective.
Right. Well, someone asked me this question just today, so it's pretty fresh on my mind. For a while, it was very exhausting to talk about it and to be the teacher and the student and the all the things, right? And so where I'm at on today is I have asked all of my white friends, and it's not just one, to truly teach me about your experience being white and privileged. Teach me about those areas of your life where you may have been uncomfortable with something a grandparent or a parent or a sibling may have said. One of my friends was able to, she was scared. She's like, I don't know if, maybe this is going to hurt our relationship. I said, say the truth, and it'll actually make us stronger. And then she was afraid to share that, her parents said, don't ever bring a black man home. Right. And so these are things that, though it didn't, that she's been carrying that for so long. And then now Black Lives Matter happens. And then she's carrying a whole other guilt that I don't know about, but the energy is weird. And so this is where I often say to people, especially in this climate, based on what you asked me, we have to shame the shame. The only way to shame the shame is to speak about it. Speak about it and fear less. You don't have to be fearless. Just fear less. Speak about it and you'll get so much more respect and honor. I think that we need to make space for one another. We need to make space for there's the acronym BIPOC. However, I realize we can't just zip through BIPOC. We have to work on the B all the way through, right? Indigenous obviously matters as well. However, in the Black experience, what happens is now we've been balled together as BIPOC. We've been balled together as POC, people of color. Like, no, Black issues, systemic racism, institutional racism, all of those things has been happening, and we can't now ball it up into a committee. We're not an afterthought as a committee subject. You know what I mean? And so that's where I'm at today. I'm in a space where I'm asking you know white people to be my co-conspirators more than my allies. I'd rather know that you're willing to drive the getaway car so that for my freedom, and if I'm doing time, you're doing time. You know what I mean? Really stand in the gap for the Black community. We really need people that are going to truly both feet in, stand in the gap, make some sacrifices, be able to use your resources in just an opportunity. I'm not saying that all white people are rich. People think that when Black people like help me, that we're asking for a dollar amount. We're asking for you to represent me at the table. If I don't have a seat, will you represent me at the table? All right, so that's where I'm at. In love, I say to my friends, especially my white friends, I might be angry, but I'm not enraged. There's a big difference. Please allow for me to express how I'm actually feeling without making it be about like my lived experience, my 43 years. You cannot be overshadowed by your offense or by you being uncomfortable, because now you've totally just disregarded my lived experience. And that's that's a nugget I really want to just leave out there. Remember, when a Black person is saying that they're feeling something, it's because it's our lived experience. It's not about the moment that just happened.
For hundreds of years,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Generationally. Absolutely.
One thing we've been doing in our newsletters is finding history, especially local history. I don't know if you know this, but the Aeolian Hall, which was the town hall for East London, hosted the very first convention in Canada of the NAACP on that stage.
No
Yes,
way! Stop it. Come
yes.
on.
And
Who knew?
there's a review of the evening in the digital archives of the New York Public Library. We didn't know about it until just recent years. And people came from all over for that. And they had dinner and dancing at the end of the night, and they had a mandate, right? We have the mandate from that meeting. And I compared that to what's going on today.
Mhm.
Not so very different.
Wow.
I'll show you that sometime.
Yes. No, take a picture. I'm shivering. Like, I need to see this.
I've got the file. I can send it to you for sure.
Yes,
Yeah,
please. Are
yeah.
you kidding me?
But yeah, so you know, that's one of the things, like, the discomfort. I mean, I'm of the LGBTQ community, and I remember being spit on in the 80s. Not that I know your lived experience, but I do know what it's like to be a minority in a bad time.
Mhm.
I feel uncomfortable with the whole issue, right? Because a lot of people, like, I asked a friend once, I said, I think things are bad here in London for Black people. And he's like, oh, no, 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 no. Things are good for everybody. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. And then we had, the everything blow up. And I wonder what that person is thinking right now. But I feel really uncomfortable because, like, I didn't know the history, and I'm just learning the history and understanding better uh,
Mhm.
about how things are for a Black person in Canada.
In
It's
Canada.
good.
It's not good.
It's not
Not
good.
good. I have three things I say to people, I've said lately, is listen, learn, and then take action. Some people are taking action. Oh, we formed a committee. We are, diversity and inclusion and every other word after that. You know, we're committed to, and then there's the press release.
All the nonprofits are doing that, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Well, we have our statement, you know. Yeah.
Statement that's a lot of times written by a white person.
Yeah.
And so listen, learn, then take action. And it might not be this year, it might not be until next year. But so, oh no, what do? We have to say something. We have to do something. You have to be something before you could do something. And if you're not authentically committed to seeing that change through, then you might as well don't do it. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Be true to yourself and don't do it.
This has been by far the best interview I've done. I swear, Jully, you are really a force for good. And I really appreciate you taking this time with me today.
Well, thank you. You gave me back to 4 o'clock. I was like, oh no. That was like, you guys don't know the story all the way. I don't know if this is going to be edited, but 2 hours ago, yeah. I didn't have lashes on,
okay,
or lipstick, or any of that. Okay, so we're back. So, and we match. I didn't plan that. And we match. Hello, Blue. Hello, Blue. Hello.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you again for this. And, you know, I feel like I want to have more conversations with you sometime.
Hey, let's Zoom. We'll be Zoombies together. We'll be Zoombies together. How about that?
Well, I'm going to definitely look for those resources you mentioned today. So
by when? I like deadlines. Hello. By when? When can I expect them?
I'll get them online tonight, maybe. I don't know. I'll look. Okay, I'll get them. Definitely. I'll get them tonight.
How about Tuesday?
Tuesday? It's better for me on the weekend, trust me.
Okay. So, okay. All right. I'll leave it in your court. Okay. All right.
So anyway, thank you again, and so excited about your music and getting you back on stage at Aeolian Hall when we can.
Yes. I do have a new album that I'm mixing and mastering. Yes. It's been 3 years in the making, actually, and it's interesting how over this time, you know, how I feel has changed and everything has changed. So we finally landed on this album. It's 8 tracks and it's called 3 Rocks and a Slingshot. You know, just like David and Goliath. And I'm just really, but the songs are so inspiring and fun. It's a lighter album, in fact, even though it might be a heavy time in life, but I don't want to match it with the heavy. I have lots of those songs already. And so it's going to be, I'm excited for this to actually come out.
And release date on that?
I don't have a date. I'm hoping for fall. I'm really hoping for fall. Yeah.
Keep us posted because we'd love to tell people about that.
Oh, are you kidding me? Of course. Hopefully I can come do a London release concert.
That'd be great.
Aeolian concert. That'd be great. So awesome. Yeah.
Well, thank you again, Jully. And on with the music.
Yeah, on with the music. It's my pleasure. You take care, okay? Be safe.
You too.